Hi, Tabatha. Thank you so much for joining this podcast episode. Really appreciate it. How are you today?
I am fantastic. Thanks for having me and all.
Yeah, pleasure is mine. I'm super excited to have a conversation with you and learn more about yourself, your business journey, and how
Mhm.
you got started with everything. So, yeah, let's get started with when did you decided like you want to be a business person, entrepreneur?
Well, I think for me, for my story, I honestly never really thought I was going to be, a business owner. I always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and I always tell people because I'm too stubborn and I don't like to have people tell me what to do. So I knew that I didn't like somebody like a boss. But I met my husband, my current husband, when we were in high school. So we're high school sweethearts,
Right.
and we knew that we would probably live in the area of rural Nebraska. And when I was in high school, all I really knew is that I loved helping people. I just love people to come to me for their problems. And, I was always trying to get them results, find solutions, whatever that was. So I knew I
Mm,
had a heart for helping people. I just kind of thought that I was going to do it in the way of like counseling or maybe therapy. That was kind of the route that I was going after school, like after high school. And so I got my bachelor's degree in marriage and family studies, but I'll never forget it. When I was a senior, I went to my advisor and I said, okay, what are the next steps? Because if you want to be a counselor or a therapist, you have to have extended school. And I
yeah.
just didn't know if I wanted to go for, 4 more years. I
Yeah.
mean, I was good at school, but I didn't love it. So I was like, how can I start helping people now? And she looked at me and she said, Tab, honestly, by the time they get to us, marriages fail. And I thought, what? Like, I wanna help people. I'm results driven. What do you mean by the time they come to us, they fail? So I was like, I don't wanna go to school for 2 to 4 more years if the outcome is people fail. So I was like, okay, let's just wait on that. So I graduated with my bachelor's, ended up marrying my husband, and we started having children. And in that, even before when we first got married, I started kind of coaching people in the fitness industry. It just started really slow at my local YMCA, kind of got some certifications, did some different things, and I loved it. I loved helping people get results in the area of fitness, and then I just had a love of nutrition and, mind transformation, so it just kind of developed over time, and then I got introduced to a direct selling company,
Wow.
and it was with, like, supplementation and nutrition, so it was something I was passionate about, and it kind of fit in what I was already doing, but when I got in there, they just taught me a lot about leadership and about selling in a way of leadership and helping people. It wasn't like this salesy, type of thing. And
Mm,
they kind of have business in a box. So I didn't have to do fulfillment. All I had to do was go share stories and help people. And I thought, this is awesome. And it was a supplemental income for us, which was fantastic because my husband was a farmer. We had started real estate when I was 19 and he was 21. So we'd already kind of been doing a little bit of the entrepreneurship in a way, and he was farming with his family, and so in a way of that type of business. So
yeah.
we were definitely business owners, but just in a different way. It looked differently. It wasn't that typical bricks and mortar business or corporate America that I was thinking business
Mm,
was. And so we were having babies and I was, supplementing the income and we were doing real estate and doing all these things. But honestly, like for me, I secretly like I wanted to hit that $1 million mark. Like I wanted to build something that was seven figures because where I lived, that was just like unheard of.
right.
And with farming, there was just a lot of financial struggle. And so I
Yeah.
thought, man, like deep in my heart, like the secret thing that like I don't share with anybody, but maybe my husband, like, is like, I want to be a millionaire and what that, looks like. But I just kind of kept it tucked in because there was just, again, there was nobody that I was modeling where I lived. So we just kind of live life. And I was, really trying to make this direct selling company work. And it just wasn't taking off like I wanted it to.
Mm,
And by that time, I was more business minded. Before then, I'd say I was just more like I just wanted to help people. I'd do it for free all the time. I was working for different companies, kind of
yeah.
giving my services away. And then it kind of shifted in 2000, late 2017, 2018. Um, God kind of spoke to me and he said, you need to launch your own business. And I remember thinking, like, not almost laughing because I was so scared
So
because
before
I never
2017, you was like doing direct selling, right?
Yes, yep, I was doing direct selling until it even through 2017 up until about 2019. So, I was doing this and I had been doing that for about 5 years. And like I said, it was a good supplemental income and I was helping other people earn money, which was really fun because when you can help people, earn money and help their families, like that was just really fun for me.
Mm,
And so then when I got the little whisper, which I know your audience, you guys hear whispers, like you hear the calling, you hear that internal voice, just like I did early on about wanting to be a millionaire, and you push it down because you think, I don't know the steps, or I don't have the background, or who am I to become a multimillionaire? Like my family growing up was right above poverty. Like who am I to do those things? That's for the rich, elite, lawyers, doctors, stock market, all those things, right? All the limiting beliefs we put on ourselves. So when I heard this voice, I just remember kind of laughing because I thought, oh my gosh, I know nothing really about sales other than direct selling, which is different.
yeah.
I didn't know about like online selling. I didn't know about marketing. I didn't know about business, um, SOPs and all these SA2s and all these weird things that people would say and like SaaS and all this stuff. And it was like a foreign language to me, but I knew the voice and I knew I had to do it anyway. And I knew I couldn't do it alone, so I had to hire a coach. And it was the first high ticket thing I'd ever bought. And it was $5,000. And it was for me so scary because I was like, the most I'd ever spent was in my direct selling company.
Mm,
And that always kind of came back right away. And I knew how to do those things.
yeah.
But in this, it was like I was going to pay for a coaching program and I might not get it back. I might fall flat on my face. I don't know. But I knew I had to do it. And so it was really scary, but I jumped all in. I went, did the coaching program, and it was great. They were a great company to like help me build my fitness and nutrition regimen out. But they just kind of failed on the marketing part of it.
Mm,
They were just kinda like, "Go out and do social media, good luck." Like, really, that's kinda how it was.
yeah.
And I was like, "I gotta learn all this stuff." And there was one day when I was sitting folding laundry, so if you have moms that are listening out here, like, we do some of our best thinking, like, the babies were napping, and I remember sitting there, and I was playing something on YouTube. I think, like, I listen to, like, a lot of motivational
Mm,
speeches and stuff, and it was playing in a commercial for ClickFunnels came on, an ad for ClickFunnels came on and I thought, this is exactly what I need. Like they talked about like doing all your sales marketing online, like you get all this stuff, you go to this convention and you just make millions pretty much. I'm like, this is what I need. This is awesome. So a friend of mine went because she was needing that information too. So we went and I just fell in love with the culture of it and other entrepreneurs who were like me that were like just starting out and just needing this stuff. And so I just for the next probably year and a half just really consumed all this stuff. I took some other coaching programs. I developed my program into even more like personal development type of stuff. And then we decided to have baby number 4 and COVID hit. So there was a lot of transitioning happening for our family and then the
yeah.
world. And I was still helping people. I was still coaching a little bit. I was actually transitioned into helping coaches launch their businesses
Mm,
online, just kind of the knowledge I was getting, I was sharing those type of things. And then we had baby number 5 back to back. So that was kind of a from 2020 to 2023 I kind of halted on the revenue source. We were still real estate investing heavily, and I was doing different masterminds and different marketing and sales so that when I came and relaunched of this year, we could just, quantum leap forward. And
mm,
so that's kind of in a nutshell what we've done. We've really had those struggles along the way of trying to learn it and investing in ourselves and falling flat. And I mean, there's definitely more in-depth stories in there wherever you want me to go back, but that in a nutshell for the last 16 years, that's what we've done and that's where we're at.
yeah. So obviously there is a lot of angle in the story like we can go about. And I'd like to know like one thing which is most important. How did you keep yourself motivated, like going through the process, like learning and everything? Because as you mentioned, a lot of things like you started, you try to do, like a lot of them doesn't go as you expected. There is like a
Yeah,
lot of hurdles you have to learn yourself and things like that. You have to go through unknown sources, like when you invested that coaching program, you don't know it's going to pan out or well or not. And some of them worked out, some of them didn't work out, and it's still you doing that same thing. So as an entrepreneur, we go through like a lot of processes, a lot of kind of things, and we just have to follow through our gut feeling and just go with it. And then sometimes results happen, sometimes it doesn't happen. So what gives you like the motivation to keep going and like doing your own thing, not go through like any kind of jobs or anything like that?
right. I think for me, the number one thing is the potential that entrepreneurship has. And I am very big on ownership, results, like you get to determine, you get to design your life and what that looks like and trusting the process.
Yeah.
So many of us, like even when I first started, like I said, when I went to that first funnel hacking live, which if you guys don't know, Russell Brunson, amazing, like billionaire or $1 billion company, or I think he's a billion, pretty close. Anyway, like multimillionaire, very successful. Even when I was there, I had goals for the next year. Like when I come back here next year, I'm going to be on that stage.
Mm,
And I wasn't. And I think as entrepreneurs, and Tony Robbins says this, we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 10. And I really took that to heart. I didn't stop dreaming and setting goals for the year, but I just kept thinking, I'm going to do this for a decade
yeah.
and I'm going to look back. And if I'm not even you know, even if I'm just 20% better in 10 years and closer to my goal, that's better than where I was.
Mm,
And I think that's with entrepreneurship. It's that hope and that things can change. Like I said, I listen to a lot of like different speeches. That's kind of my skill set is speaking anyway. So I like to listen to other positive things. I'm active. So like when I get in a fog or a funk, I'll go and do like a cycle ride or a bike, or I'll go lift, or I'll go do something to get my body moving to get out of myself. And I think, okay, I'm going to come to this with a fresh perspective.
yeah.
And then I just always think like, but if there was a way, what would it be? So like if there's a struggle like with marketing or sales or hiring, and I think like, oh, I just can't like figure it out. I don't have the money, I don't have the funds. And in my brain, I just ask myself, but if there was a way, what would it be?
Right.
And that's what I ask my kids. Like they'll say, Mom, I can't do this, or oh, there's not this. And I'm like, but if there was a way, what would it look like? And they always like, no, Mom, there's not. And I'm like, no, but if there was, let's look at this from a different perspective, like setting yourself, like stepping away from it. Because I always have two options. And we always have two options as entrepreneurs when we get stuck, when we get
Mm,
frustrated. And let's face it, we're there sometimes daily.
yeah.
When we're there, we have two options. We can quit. It's our choice. It is my choice to be on this journey. Or I can say, I can pivot and say, okay, everything happened for me. So where am I at today? I'm not where I wanted to be because I wanted to be, financially better, have more impact, whatever, because we're big dreamers, right? Entrepreneurs are big dreamers. But if I could do one thing today, what would that be? And I'm a big Tony Robbins girl. And like, I mean, no key quotes, but a lot of his teachings are from years and years, people before him. So like, this isn't new, but it is the truth. If you can just progress a little bit. So like, if you're a speaker and you can just get on one more podcast, is there
Mm,
one person out there with that? I don't know how many millions of podcasts launch in 2023, but is there one podcast that I could just get on and like share my story? Is there one client that I can help at even a discounted rate? Just so I can practice my coaching skills and know that shit, right? Like just a little bit
yeah.
instead of like taking on the whole elephant. So for me, it's just been that progress, focusing on the progress of where I'm going. And then something I'm not great at, but it's definitely an effort. But I do it is celebrating what I've done at the end of the day or the end of the week or the end of the month, whenever, and just sitting back and thinking, what was one thing? Or at the end of the month, could I list 10 things that I did to move forward in my business?
Mm,
And most of the time I can double, triple that. But, just sitting down and thinking, like, I did that. That is powerful. Now, maybe it didn't bring me in the millions that I want, but did it take me one step closer to a life that I've designed? And I think in that is the grace and the forgiveness of saying, "It's okay." I'm a parent. I have 5 children, okay? I don't know if I said that before. So,
Yeah.
like, for me to, like, not even I don't like to use the word balance or juggle, but if I can just be the person that I wanna be in those moments, which is different for every parent. It
Mm.
is. For me, I thrive as a parent when I can go and work a little bit. But I can't work a lot, because if I work a lot, if I spend because I could do it, because I'm a workhorse. I could be in my business 60 hours a week. But then I feel depleted as a mom, and I'm not feeling fulfilled on that side. And I love being a mom. But
Yeah.
if I go and I'm with my kids 24/7, 7 days a week, all month long, I am like wanting to pull my hair out. And because it's like I need, for me, the balance. So I think your audience, there's a balance, but it's not an equal balance. It's what fits for you and your heart. And I can tell in the day, even if I've spent too many hours at the office, if I'm doing a lot of podcast interviews or master classes, I just need to go home and hold my babies.
Yeah.
And we just need to draw on color or whatever. And if you don't have kids, maybe that's just sitting at home watching a Netflix show and just recharging so that you can come back as a better entrepreneur. Because we'll hustle and grind until we're
Yeah, it's
depleted.
everyone's different definition of success is different, isn't it? Some people wants to be a like a best version of themselves, and then same time like they want to build a business and their personal development wise, and they want to spend some time like going for hiking, whatever that may be. They want to do like a surfing as well as like they want to build a business as well. Some people
Yeah.
wants to spend some time with their family, social life as well as they bringing the business. Some people just want to be Elon Musk, like want to build businesses one after another, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
drives him. So every individual needs to find out like who they are rather than
Yep.
copying someone, and
Yep.
just find a balance and solve the problem alongside with it. So
Yeah.
Tabata, I'd like to know like before we finish off here, what would be like your number one advice to someone who just wants to uh, create themselves as the next version of self and keep going forward with their life, with the business? What would be like your number one tip or advice you say?
I mean, for me, it's always been, I always go back to the why. And I know a lot of, entrepreneurs are going to say that, but what that really means, not just like I have a reason why I want to create a 7-figure business. It's not just to say I was a millionaire. Like there's a reason why I want to create an 8-figure business, and
Mm.
they're different. And so I have established that. And I know, like I said, in that balance paradigm, what is truly making you feel fulfilled. And like, if you get success, then what? Because when you're fulfilled, there's not really a then what. You're fulfilled, like you're content, like you're good to go. That doesn't mean that you're going to just sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais forever, but it's being fulfilled, that daily fulfillment of like doing what you're truly called to do, what you're gifting at, like what it is. And in business, unfortunately, when you're first starting a business, you're doing everything. Like you are the sales, you're the marketing, you're the coach, you're the customer service, you're doing it all.
Yeah.
But there has to be a point where you say, I have to hire the who, not the how, so I can feel fulfilled and actually go towards my why with a heart center, not a hustle center. Because even if you like to create businesses, even if that is like brings you so much joy, if you're only one dimensional, I guarantee you're not fully fulfilled. You might feel success, and that is filling a void inside of you,
Mhm.
but fulfillment's not one dimensional. And I think that's where people get tripped up. They're like, just do what you're passionate about and follow your passion. And that's great, but like you have to go deeper. It's knowing yourself in that and like what it can be. And in that is forgiveness.
Yeah.
And that is giving yourself grace, but also keeping those standards high enough to where you can achieve the goals that you've set for yourself, because otherwise you will still feel like not fully fulfilled, because that piece of the dimension is missing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the advice. I really appreciate that. So we're
Yeah.
nearly coming to end of this podcast. So before we go, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself, your business, where's the best place to find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Tab Thorell, TABTHORELL. That is my website as well, TABTHORELL.com. And I also have a podcast called What Went Wrong. bouncing back from failure. So I feel like I spoke to this at the beginning of the podcast, but as entrepreneurs, we need to like latch on to hope. And I feel like stories of other entrepreneurs and other people just in general going through their failures or their struggles, hearing their stories, and then where they are now, the triumph and the successes that they are after that is so powerful. And
Yeah.
so check that out. That we're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, really anywhere you can find podcasts. And that's What Went Wrong with Tabitha Thorell.
Thank you so much for that, Tabatha. It's a great pleasure having you in the show. I wish you best of luck with your business, your personal life, and you have a wonderful day ahead. And thank you so much for coming to this today.
Thank you for having me.
This pleasure is mine. Thank you. So that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If anyone wants to learn more about Tabatha, you can visit her website, or you can find a social media platform, or you can find her podcast in the podcast platforms. So until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. Take care.